One and all, welcome back to the Age of Empires for action. We got a special one here. This was an upper bracket game in the only tournament to be ran on the test server for Season 9. Courtesy yours truly. A really cool tournament, actually. We had some phenomenal games, some phenomenal series, and I had to take a gander at this one. B leading the series 2-0 in this best of 5, but Myriad looks like he should be able to bite back here, folks. Abbasids, they are favored in this matchup, and right now they are favored kings of Season 9. During the tournament, I believe this was possibly the second most first pick Civ of the entire tournament. If it wasn't banned, it was getting picked in the opening phase. That is how powerful the Abbasids are. So curious to see what B and Myriad are going to look to do in this matchup. Ayyubids received some kind of interesting buffs to the late game, I think. Things like the Serpentine Powder, I think, is going to be very effective with the Manlet's Bravery, the way it can scale. Gulams did get crippled a little bit. Men-at-Arms in general got hurt by that. Camel Lancer spam won't be the go-to if this goes too late, but something that is interesting to think about is you have two things that got buffed. Well, three, really. You've got range units, you've got the range of those units, and then you've got biology. You know where I'm going with this. Desert Raiders in the late game actually might be the way that Ayyubids could become a sudden king of late game. So, opening-wise, I'm expecting this is likely to be... Is he going to go for the Desert Raider? I feel like the Desert Raider is just very weak now. I've been underwhelmed by its performance in more recent times, especially against Abbasids, who will very happily just do a 2TC condensed. All right, just adjusting my mic. Let me know if the audio is still really good. I'm getting a bit paranoid about that now. I don't know what the hell is breaking. Maybe my headset needs to be replaced. Yeah, overall, like, this is a pretty kind of etched out matchup. Like, it's interesting because when Abbasids and Ayyubids first came out, Abbasids were definitely not favored. They were getting annihilated because of the Ayyubids fast castle timing. But then players started calming down. They just built 2TC, they hunkered down, and they mirror, and Camel Riders could deliver all. But we have a very different approach at the start of the age here. Myriad may be the first player to go military wing in the Season 9 showdown. Every single other Abbasid pick has gone for Eco Wing. Because it's so cheap now. With a 35% discount, it's actually kind of ridiculous how much you save going to DC condensed. We are on Lipany, if those wondering. It's just classic Lipany, not the EGC version, which means it's not going to always be perfectly balanced. But I would say this one is reasonable. I think overall this one is kind of passable. Meanwhile, B is going to be going Growth Wing. Okay, so this is pretty good for B then. Because Myriad, if he go on Eco Wing, I would have favored him here. Just he would have been a lot more efficient. But by going Military Wing, it's now pressure on Myriad to do something, which means he's going to be exposing his units in the early game. And that's something that the Eco Wing choice for the Ayyubids is well designed to punish. Because now you can get your hands on some very helpful extra units, courtesy of the fact that you're gathering about 160 resources extra at just 4.5 minutes into the game. What do you think about nerf hammering quick walling? I feel like it takes away a lot of identity from AO4. There aren't many wow moments for the viewers that can rival quick walls. Quick walls haven't been nerfed. I think that's kind of a fallacy. Quick walls haven't been nerfed. Walling has been nerfed. Like, quick walling is still very quick, actually. You just have to be a bit more specific on your positioning. I'm fine overall. I don't think quick walling is nerfed in the ground. I don't think it's not viable anymore. I think the changes they made around walling was necessary because as it stands, people have just been kind of freebie walling up, and it led to really crap gameplay. Honestly, I actually think that the Palisade change might be one of the best changes they made in 4 years. And I'm not even capping on that. Because the reality is, it is so tedious, it's so depressing, it's so demoralizing when you try to be an aggressive party, and in a game that's already favorable for the defender, they just have these walls up that waste your time entirely, right? So I'm thumbs up for this fully. I think this is a positive change. I think we've already seen the impact of it. Players who try to wall the map tend to die, mainly because not because they don't get the walls up, but because the villagers take too long to do it, and they miss out on too much economy at a critical point in the game. So, thumbs up from me. A really good change. Now we just need to get rid of China's build speed. So, archer range stables, we are going to get the aggro play. Archers plus probably, what, 2 Horsemen Desert Raiders sounds really good here. The Desert Raider is nice because it means that the enemy Horsemen are going to feel pretty irrelevant. Myriad is now on the stone, so he's doing a very classic Abbasid build here, right? The TC after military wing presence, which doesn't feel necessary anymore, gotta say. I'm not crazy about this, right? I get why Myriad done this. Myriad was worried that this was a fast castle build from B. But funny thing about the fast castle builds, folks, they don't work that well for Ayyubids against Abbasids, because Abbasids can very efficiently get that 2 TC play and then rush castle themselves. And if they open military wing, they already have a blocker to what the Ayyubid's going to do. Like walls to be even more expensive. Yeah, they should be like 100 wood per slab, right? I mean, and then maybe we just embed a tower in them. Goddamn Mongol spammers in my chat. I love this so much from B. He's going to TC. And now this is what I meant by I don't like the play for Myriad. He's now paying full price for a TC with a worse economy. It's terrible what's happened here. I mean, the upside at least is he did rush towards the Golden Age, so he's got the 15% gathering rate advantage now. But I don't think his opponent's going to be far behind him. B is now building up the funnel house that we're getting there. And I wouldn't be surprised if B just reaches out to a deer stack maybe, or even just drops the TC on the back to protect the gold and the berries, allowing fast castle afterwards. Yeah, he's got 2 options. If he goes forward, he's going to play feudal. If he plays back from his primary TC, he's rushing castle. Either is viable here. I do at least like that Myriad is going wide onto his own deer. And I'm wondering, you know, does he try to rush an age, or does he continue to play this? Because my feeling is that Abbasids have some elements that are really nice. But if this gravitates around horsemen and Desert Raiders, it's going to favor B, right? So, like, Myriad needs to get mass archers to feel good about a long feudal. Dive coming in, but the horsemen not going to be able to do it. Instead, they get pinned. Shivs out. B, well played there. Now the horsemen split off to go for the archers, and Myriad's front army not going to be able to stand here much longer. The villagers are actually joining in to ensure the archer mass doesn't get killed. Okay, that was well executed by B. Myriad threw a little bit of anarchy in there. Chaos grenade into the room. But B, the appropriate reaction there was indeed to use the villagers to shrink those health pools quickly on the horsemen. And thus he will get a second TC. And a quirky TC, actually, to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't have expected this, but he decided to drop the TC on the east side to secure these berries, which is kind of intriguing because although this would have been safer, this is surplus, and now you can wall here, and you have so much food safely in your corner. Remember, he also went growth wing, so each of those berry patches will have 50 more food. Yeah, overall, I'm actually kind of favoring B's position here. Myriad is in an awkward situation where, yes, he's got 2 TC, but it's also 2 TC on the other side. And although Myriad is saving some resources, which is great, the issue now is he's going to have to replace the lost army, which is going to kind of offset that advantage you'd otherwise get. So I'd love to see B maybe just kind of poking at him right now. We have to remember B doesn't quite see what we see, which is just how much of an advantage he has when it comes to military. Myriad has to slow down because after losing that scout, he can't ride out blind. What do you guys think? 1s if you think Myriad's going to bag this, 2s if it's going to be B. Kind of curious actually as to what B is going to go for age 3. Probably not logistics, because now they're playing a longer feudal, there's going to be too many units for logistics to feel good. Military wing, I think he's going to save until Imperial, which makes a lot of sense. So that leaves you with what? Advancement or advisors, I guess? Wait, there's no way you go Bazaar, right? You could go Bazaar. Eco Wing's the only thing not available to him, remember. Bazaar is kind of wild, but if you RNG right, you just insta-win the game. Camels is now being queued up by Myriad, so we are gradually getting towards that, but this is kind of tougher for Myriad. In this game, remember, he hasn't got Eco Wings, so there isn't going to be a scaling gradually into farms to fuel the war machine. Instead, he's going to have to play out onto the map. That might be a problem considering B has gone for Advancement Wing. He's on his way up. Wait, was that a misclick? He cancelled. Okay, I guess I can see where he's coming from. He's so close to having what he needs anyway, you might as well just go for an advantageous tech, and it is going to be the Desert Raiders. So interesting choice here. The Desert Raiders are a bit weird against the Camel Archers. The problem with going up against Camel Archers is Camel Archers are high base damage and you have no ranged armor. If you gap close with the Desert Raiders, you will destroy Camel Archers. The issue is the gap close. Love the fact that we've also just got B spreading wide, right? Goes out into the deer with the outpost. Not something that Myriad wants to assault right now. Would take a little bit too long, a little bit too much effort. Outside this, Myriad is starting to stockpile some food, but almost feel like he's planning to try and play the A. He's playing all in here, which is quite dangerous. You can see that B is leaning very hard into Desert Raiders, has them queued in the stables as well as the Archer Rangers. One of the cool perks of playing as the Ayyubids is that you can build Desert Raiders out of both production buildings. So it gives you that kind of unpredictability. You know, with a lot of civs, when you drop a Rax, you're like, oh yeah, he's going to build Spearmen. Like, you know, when they drop an Archer Range, oh yeah, he's going to build Archers. Whereas when you play Ayyubids, one of the crafty things is you drop an Archer Range, and you could be going for Archers, or you could be going for the thing that counters Archers. Right? You could, to counter that, rather. So you could end up having something that solves the Horseman issue. It's kind of OP when you think about it in that vacuum. In the meantime, though, we have got a dive. Looks like a few villagers were picked, so well played there by Myriad to get a few kills. And that has actually given him the eco lead, but he's about to be an entire tech behind here. 30 seconds away. Myriad has not started his own castle up. He continues to invest in the army. I think this is slipping into a mistake territory for Myriad. He needs to recalibrate his economy right now. He's kind of gone sunken cost fallacy after going for the undermesh. He's investing more and more right with the Steel Dagger. And although going military wing, upgrading mass archers is a good play, the timing is going to be very off here for that. Myriad should be suspicious when he sees his main Desert Raiders, right? Like, if this is a long feudal, it would have been mass horsemen and a few Desert Raiders. This many should have indicated what just got triggered. Castle Age now has arrived for B. And look at the Desert Raider count. All of a sudden, up to 8. Oh my god, a Myriad just can't try to pick at this. Spearman count is, what, 5 on the front line? The Archers need to target them down. Veterancy is already on the way for those Desert Raiders as well, so they're about to get beefy. Go get beefy yourself, by the way. Check those guys out. Good protein in those meals. So Myriad, this has to be military wing. There's no other option here. If you go culture wing, I think you're just losing this game. Melee wing is so important because you're seeing all these Desert Raiders. Camel Riders can try to help that a little bit. On top of that, oh my god, he goes for it. So, as I say, on top of that, the bigger deal is you are scaling archers and you want those archers to remain good. Composite bows does that. Culture wing is a whole different beast. I mean, he hasn't gone for his eco wing tech, so I kind of get it here. But at the same time, your punch in these fights is going to be notably weaker. The Raiders have upgraded. They're targeting down the last of the horsemen, last of the spearmen. Every unit but the right one there. Desert Raiders are going to be able to pull back here. The Lance count needs to blow upwards for this to win. Myriad, in the meantime, is going to get wiped on the horseman front. We have got the undermesh plus the Steel Dagger in, so B is starting to get the defense together here. Myriad has done a good job of trading well, by the way. I don't want to actually discredit what he's done here. His army was notably weaker from a per unit perspective, right? You have like 180 resource average cost for B, and then you have about 120 average cost. Actually learn that more like 100 because most of them spears and archers. So a good hold outside of B's base. But the biggest scary part for me is, you know, you're starting to slip your grip a bit. Camelot's account is going up, and fighting this becomes harder and harder. On top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Moss drop coming in soon from B. Makes a lot of sense, right? He's about to gain map control. I do feel in some ways B has chosen a harder way to success here, but there's a good reason behind that. And this is the other reason why you go military wing as Abbasids, is B should not be able to do archers due to composite bows. Because this is culture wing, archers would have been an option. So hilariously enough, B got inside his own head, was worried about the counter that was coming that actually isn't going to exist here. The mass Desert Raiders continue to get spammed. Camel Lance is able to start diving in. That is going to be a wipe of Myriad's forward army. Interesting micro away, just min-maxing the Camel Lances to keep them up. We do have veterancy, so this is kind of awkward now, right? Like, you're having to scale into these archers, even without composite bows, because you're up against Desert Raiders. It feels like one of the more efficient ways to trade. On top of that, we have got Ghoulims getting added in, but Ghoulims kind of suck against Desert Raiders, guys. They have 6 melee armor. And remember, Ghoulims double strike. So they're missing out on 10 of their 25 damage. Sorry, 12 of their 25 damage. Which means you're pretty much paying a premium for men-at-arms that attacks for the same damage as a standard men-at-arms, right? It's quite underwhelming. Love that read. Straight away, B going to the fit and level work to minimize the damage even further here. Top of this, Myriad's about to run out of food, right? He has got the berry patch here. That's getting exhausted pretty low. The rest is in the center, and he's already gone through the deer. So the other one is on the east side, which is where B is parking himself. I've had one of those days. Oh, wait, you're right. I'm an idiot. Thank you, Archer. I am a ginormous idiot. Why did... You can tell that I have cast non-stop Eco Wing builds by the fact that I just, like, I moaned that he went for military wing. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, so anyway, he didn't get military. What's he thinking? Okay, so we are going to have it. It's such a weird build. And that sounds weird to say because for, like, the last year and a half, military wing has been the meta. But in the last month or two, and definitely on the pub server, Eco Wing has had like an 80 or 90% pick rate in Feudal Age. It's insane. Oh no, I'm going to get some flack in the comments for that one. So, we have Military Academy on the way, which is really important for what B is doing. He's going very long production time units. But he is truly sticking to the way of the camel. Low from behind. Wait, he can't see that, right? Okay, he can. Whew, I was worried for a second there. It's a little bit tricky with these small stealth forests. Sometimes they do block you, sometimes they don't. Meanwhile, look at the tree line, though. What a move, B! He saw him overchop here. Villager's going to have to run. That means he's got access. So despite Myriad's zealous walling, he's not safe here. B does hesitate to head in, which I'm a little bit surprised by. That would have been a perfect opportunity to just kind of swarm the backside here and idle everything out. It's tricky though, right? When you play into mass Desert Raider, mass Lancers, yes, you can make that move. Yes, you get some eco kills. But the loss, each of these units is so expensive. The Camel Lancers, 240 resources. The Desert Raiders, 180. Not really something you just want to throw away willy-nilly, especially when you haven't got a farm transition ready yet, especially when you're mirrored 2TC, so you're not that far ahead. Things are about to get a lot better. We've got second relic on the way home for B. On top of that, okay, things were going to get better, and then he built Mango. Wait, hear me out. Is it not better now to just use Manganique Incendiary mode? Because the kinetic's so bad. That is a bold statement. But you know what? It worked out fine here. Double Mango shot comes in. Myriad wasn't expecting that. Oh, wow. I mean, they are kind of underwhelming on the follow-up. That initial ambush shot definitely caught Myriad by surprise. And you see how much these Ghoulims just suck. The Spearmen were the ones carrying that fight. The moment you're down to Ghoulims, you're just doing no damage against Camel Lancer Desert Raider. It's kind of horrifying to see Myriad adding more of these in, actually. It's the worst unit he could be building right now. Crossbows would make sense against Lancers. Archers would make sense against Desert Raiders. Spearmen would make sense against both. But Ghoulims, you could argue it's to kill the Manganiques, but how are you ever reaching them? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but are Manganiques now not, and Mangoes, by extension, now not better at killing specifically buildings? Because of the AoE being tighter, they'll hit what they're aiming for always, right? They won't have some fragment shots that kind of whiff. Oh, these are going to take some getting used to. Yes, but Manganiques and Mangoes always got bonus damage against buildings. That's not new. So that was just... It's more a case of because they suck against range units now, against infantry and whatever, they're probably going to be a bit better as these kind of building sieges than they previously were. Okay, so farm transition underway for Myriad. Still, without ecoing, this hurts. It's very expensive to have to do, and you can see that that's the difference maker right now, is on the other side, B has finally started to go to it, but he waited until after he took a big win in those central fights. So much more berry mass for B to work with as well, right? So it's not even like he needs to go farms here. He's got the double berry patch on the left side. East side has been a very ambitious but successful grab for Myriad. However, a grab of a different kind for B here. Sacred Site is getting locked in. It's going to be a 5-relic game. And thank you for the clarification, Bandara. Yes, buildings did get buffed further from 24 to 30. So they were buffed against buildings. It's not just in the raw damage stat department, it's the fact that now because Manjaniques and Mangoes have a smaller splash, they are going to be able to hit smaller buildings more efficiently, like outposts and mills. Whereas before, 1 or 2 of those rocks could miss. Oh my god. Guys, hear me out. He still has logistics. So remember, the way that the logistics wing works for the Ayubids now, it's being slept on. This was already put in place for Season 8, and I'm surprised it hasn't come out more. Logistics wing now gives a permanent healing AoE. It's like the Imam point for the Ottomans. Only when you get it later and later in the game, it gets buffed more and more. So that AoE heal will be buffed by an extra 50% than it normally would be. And it will always be on instead of being an activatable ability that only lasts several seconds. I mean, we might not even get to that point. B is looking to brute force the base, and Myriad. The Manjaniques may seem meaningful, but if you get enough of them, the damage is going to register pretty hard here. He's going to have to back up. A keep drop is on the way, but not a fast one. Mangoes able to shove away the crossbows, and that means the Golems are just going to get sold out here. Yeah, kind of rough, right? Like, congrats, you could have Manjanique, but the amount of Golems you lost in return made it a very unfavorable trade there. I think this keeps going up. On top of that, with the 3 sacred sites locked in, Myriad can't stay in the corner for long here. Why does Myriad only have 1 spear? Honestly, Crackly, I don't know. I too am confused. I think Myriad panicked and thought Desert Raiders get bonus damage, just like Camel Archers do, right? Something here just doesn't make sense about this. Golems is never the answer against Desert Raiders. I mean, the entire army of B screams, stab me with a spear, right? But Myriad, I think he just panicked under this camel massing. And now B getting ever closer to that Imperial Age. It seems inevitable at this stage. Oh, that's true. This 1 spear, he's carrying the... What are we going for? The Trident of Neptune to slay them all. The Spear of Osiris is in his hands. Even then, I think the Spear of Osiris might actually struggle to bring this all down. I think he triggered the tech up, didn't he? Oh, come on. No, dude, you've got so many dervishes. It has to be logistics. He's going for the Ayyubids. Jumping onto the farms here. I think Myriad's just dead. There's no standing against this. I mean, he's going to lose this fight, let alone the follow-up one that's going to be coming with age up advantage. Unless, wait a second, Golems. The backstab comes in. The Mangoes are a little bit pinched here. Start to open fire. The dervishes have got that chain heal to try and make the army last a bit longer. B. What an obnoxious overextension. Myriad is losing out for it, though. Look at the eco number just going down. He's getting raided elsewhere by the Desert Raiders. There's a reason B's army got cleared up here, and it's because it wasn't the full power in one position. What a move. Myriad just losing so much of his economy on the east side of the base. And now on top of that, an entire age behind. The farm transition is also deep in for B. I think it's about 30 deep. Yeah, 30 when they're finished constructing. And Ayyubid's now only 45 seconds away. Now, some people might say, why would B jump in early? Why would he throw away his army? Good question. Ayyubid doesn't affect already spawned units. You know, sometimes you've just got to accept that your firstborn was a flaw. You got to get it right with the second. So kind of clearing the field to get the chunkier units isn't the worst of ideas. I'm going to try to dive out, but I'm wondering if this is ever going to be quick enough. The keep is up, right? Sacred Sight was at least decapped, so that surprises me more that Myriad is counterattacking like this from the position that he was in. He must know there's a tech up going, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do anything about it here. H4 comes in, and remember, it is Golden Age free so far, so production speed has now ramped up. Myriad has to go and do some return damage. He can't just afford to tech up behind this. I'm not sure he's got time for either, though. B is backing up. Got all the techs coming through. Even the infantry support, I love this. He has 2 crossbows to give +3 armor to his camels. Guys, this tech is insane and slept on far too often. Infantry support is no joke. Your Desert Raiders can get 13 melee armor. You heard that correctly. Look what just happened there. They're vetted. They're about to be elited, and then these Ghoulims are about to get yeeted. 12 melee armor against a unit that hits for 12 and 17. Oh my god. And now you see the truest form of the Desert Raiders as a counter to the Ghoulims. On top of that, the mass crossbows do nothing. So, funnily enough, B building Lancers is making his life harder. If he just builds Desert Raiders, it's the freest win imaginable. Charge comes in. Myriad, he doesn't even try to fight this. Oh no. Yeah, this is done. His one chance was to stand his ground there. This retreat doesn't work against mass cav, and it's about to get so much worse. Biology is on the way. Do we call this a camel-only strat? I mean, B did open with about 10 archers. He did build 2 crossbows. I think I'm going to give it to him, though. This was a raw camel-only strat for the Ayyubids. Thank you very much, Brit Boy. Appreciate you, buddy. Welcome back to the Swarm. Oh, welcome to the Camel Swarm. What a way to flex in this. B, on match point, looks to boot Myriad down to the lower bracket with one overarching concept. He's a big Black Eyed Peas fan. It's all about his humps. Lancers charge in for what will be the last stand of Myriad. He finally starts building spears. Oh no. If he'd only done this about 10 minutes ago, how different this game could have looked. But Myriad, he was like, B, that fella's tricky. He's up to something. I don't believe that this is his true form. He'll regret not taking it seriously. Camels win out. We've been talking about Abbasid camels being OP. Welcome to the Ayyubid society. Oh, what a brilliant video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Be sure to subscribe. I'm definite that this one is going up on the YouTube side and plenty more to come.